good. I'll admit it. Have you ever seen the Milky Way? Have you seen it? It's if you look at it, it's and if you can, there's a little speck, a little tiny speck. That's the Earth. Or that's the sun, and beyond that, you can't even see the Earth. So who cares what happens on our little planet? Who cares what happens with a little line? And why can't everybody just get along and live wherever they want? And like he sort of slinks into that position, and the audience applauds because okay,
the old Milky Way.
Yeah, where do you follow that logic? Where does that you follow that through? It's like, well, is rape something that people should care about? Like, I don't know. What does that mean?
That's just like saying it doesn't matter who's your new king.
Yeah.
Because of the Milky Way.
Yeah. It's like, it's just it's like a 17-year-old college kid on acid's perspective of the world.
I'm picturing you behind your disguise glasses, like scratching your chin, sort of trying to put that together.
We were fake laughing very loudly. And one thing we were trying to do is incite applause as much as possible. So, like, we would be the first person to clap at anything he said. So,
do you ever try to start a clap along or like a chant?
Yeah, well, we tried to I tried to get the clap in as soon as like the punchline was about to hit its crescendo, so it almost kind of like ruined his joke. So like the show's a mess, and then William Shatner comes out.
Didn't that woman have wasn't there a twist to her story as far as why she didn't like immigrants?
Oh, well, she brings out this picture of her nephew who was murdered by some. Yeah, this is like a comedy show, right? And this woman's like, well, my nephew was murdered by an illegal immigrant. And that's not really, the most fair argument to me. It's like that's very anecdotal or whatever. It's like, okay, bad stuff happens, but the energy in the room just drops, just like gets sucked out because it's like, I feel just bad. Like, how are they going to make this bit work?
They're not. And also, now you understand where she's coming from, whether or not it's logical.
Right.
Like, oh, her nephew was murdered by an illegal immigrant.
Right.
Therefore, that makes sense. It's not an indefensible opinion after all. Right.
And then he's like, oh, here's the bit that their comedy writers came up with. Let's bring out some actual illegal immigrants that they picked up at Home Depot. Yeah. So they bring out these 4 guys, and, Russell he's just slinking around. He can't believe how button pushy this is. And now we've got you. Somehow in his mind, he's like, now we've cornered her. Like, now she has to tell these guys who seem like nice guys that they have to be deported. Oh, well, how she's going to change her mind now, So they bring these guys out, and then they're like, oh, but we want to make sure that they don't get in trouble. So they put masks on them.
Oh
they give these guys
what kind of mask?
Like the Phantom of the Opera mask, wrestling mask, a Nixon mask.
Oh, so they vary it so it's whimsical.
Yeah.
And visually diverse.
But here's the craziest thing. We were all like, this is very demeaning and exploitive, clearly, no question about it. It was just extremely exploitive for these guys who probably did it just because they were offered, whatever, $100.
Yeah.
And he admitted that too. He's like, I paid these guys, blah, blah. What was amazing was when then we watched it a week later, they showed them without the masks on. They showed the whole setup. Yeah.
Why?
They showed the whole, it's like,
because it didn't work.
Bit doesn't make any
post.
It doesn't make any, it probably didn't cut together without explaining the masks. But
Oh,
at the same time, it's like, well, then you should have blurred their face. Like if your intention for the masks ultimately was to protect their identity.
Right.
Then you just spent about 30, 40 seconds showing them as so it's like your bit doesn't make sense, and it's kind of mean, it's mean.
That's terrible in so many ways. Like just cut the whole segment.
Yeah, just cut the whole segment.
So did you get caught?
Uncomfortable. So I didn't get caught, but the people that I was with knew the people that produced the show. I had worked with them before. One of the guys was sitting right in front of me. At one point he laughed very loud and inappropriately in a sense that it was too late. Like it was like a second too late. That was very disruptive, and everybody turned around, and Russell stopped. And he didn't laugh. I mean, he swears up and down that it was actually a genuine laugh.
That's just how he laughed.
It just was like a, like a weird honky kind of sound. And you could see Russell kind of was disturbed by it. There was a little commercial break. Russell Brand stormed off the stage and was like, where is he? Where is he? Went right to my friend who was sitting directly in front of me and grabbed him by the shoulders. Like, you all right? You all right, mate? You all right? You know, not in a, because he had been joking with other audience people that were being, you know, heckling or, you know, just sort of like too
his version
engaged.
Of crowd work.
His crowd work, right. Which, by the way, is like a lot of the show. It's not great crowd work, and it's also like, it feels very much like he's filling time.
Yeah, and there's like, only half an hour, so how much time does he need to kill?
Why are you killing time? So, and my friend is like shaking because he just like, so he felt very like, oh man, I really didn't mean to disturb the show. It's not my intention. After the show, he went back because he knew people that worked on the show, and he tried to clarify that it wasn't him. So through talking to another producer, he found out that right before the taping began, somebody on the staff showed Russell Brand my tweets because I had tweeted that I was there and, you know, a few pictures of me and stuff. That obviously was not good news for him, or he didn't appreciate that. So when he heard that laugh, I think he thought that was me and went out to confront me. Ended up confronting my friend.
Oh my God.
Coincidentally, I in my costume that I put together, which just glasses and comb my hair differently, sort of resembled this guy. So,
but they didn't kick you out.
No.
Okay.
And I don't know if he knew who I don't know if
he knows
who I am.
He does. If he stormed off saying, "Where is he? Where is he?"
But I don't know if he knows who I am as like another comedy guy or not.
I imagine that he does.
Yeah, but I think he would confront me in some way.
Maybe he didn't recognize you.
Maybe he didn't recognize me. That was the idea. I'm glad I did the disguise.
We've got to get you on Brand X to promote the comedy.
I was going to ask you like what you thought it meant for me to have people ask me like, why did you do it?
I completely understand why you did it.
I really don't know.
I love diving into things that are completely cringeworthy. I mean, I relate to so much of your work for that reason. Like I grew up with public access and like weird VHS stuff, and I love awkwardness. I've also taught enough like improv that like when people are bad, people are like, oh, how can you handle that? Like it's great. It makes life more interesting.
Right. I felt I'm conflicted in my own mind about my obsession with the show and my disrespect for it.
I think you use it in your own work. It's just sort of like somebody who's an artist going to the museum, honestly, and being like, that sucks. I'm going to do something with it. Right.
It's very complicated why it sucks, too. It's not just, it's just not well done. There's just multiple levels of clearly dysfunction and cynicism towards the audience in a way, and sort of disrespect towards television itself.
If you didn't love comedy, you wouldn't be so obsessed with when it doesn't work completely.